Barto's hell used to have 9 levels, but now it has a 10th level. Where is the 10th floor? In my stomach, Murphy flapped her dark green wings, soaring in the sky of Casely, looking at this empty, once the most desperate and dark prison in the multiverse. He is over 100 meters long and wears the highest crown on his head. On the crown, there are 5 dazzling gemstones set. Shining with the color of chaos, symbolizing the divine spell of disorder. Shining with an intangible color, symbolizing the spiritual power of the soul. Shining with a silver-white color, symbolizing the true name of the creation word. Shining with a deep blue color, symbolizing the soul power of soul energy. And at the center, shimmering with obsidian color, symbolizing the supreme wisdom of the arcane art. This book is also known as The Beauty Recipe of the Eternal Punishment Dragon, The Eternal Punishment Dragon, My Stomach is the 10th Hell, and The Greatest Good Dragon in History. The protagonist has 5 levels of divine/arcane/spiritual/real name/soul cultivation, with attribute panels. Keywords of the novel. Eternal Punishment Dragon in Prison with no pop-ups, complete collection download of Eternal Punishment Dragon in Prison TXT, latest chapter reading of Eternal Punishment Dragon in Prison. Chapter 1. Eternal Punishment of the Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Eternal Punishment of the Dragon. The pitch-black and foul-smelling Styx River is embedded in the earth, and countless weak, helpless, and evil souls flow out along the river. Transformed into twisted human faces and earthy yellow worms by the chaos in the abyss. These worms gnaw and tear at each other on this muddy and decaying land, devouring each other's power and essence, and ascending into monsters with ulcerative abscesses, swollen and pale. The monster has a similar appearance to the human before its death, with a height of 0.9 meters. Its swollen body emits a foul odor of putrid fat, and maggots wriggle in its gray-white flesh wounds. Their filmy white eyes, sharp claws, and uneven teeth expose their ferocious temperament. They continue to attack and devour each other in order to advance to higher levels of monsters and cowards. What the hell is going on here? Murphy opened her eyes and watched the above scene. This crazy, twisted, and nauseating scene deeply stimulated his spirit. It's even more disgusting than all the Curiosity films he has seen in his past life. I shouldn't know. As soon as Murphy thought of the scene he was in, he quickly lowered his head, afraid that he too would become such a twisted and deformed monster. But at first glance, I was stunned. His hands were shrunken and ferocious, covered in striped scales of black, gray, and olive green, and his 5 fingers turned into claws with sharp nails. And as his eyeballs turned, he could see the crocodile-like big mouth in front of him, as well as the scaly body behind him, and the tattered and pitch-black wings. This perspective has a wide range, about 270 degrees. This was a thought that flashed through Murphy's mind, but then he panicked. How did I turn into a monster? No, did I become a dragon? After Murphy woke up, messages flashed through her mind that this was the inheritance of the dragon, with not much content. Only by defending food, finding nests, basic abilities of oneself, as well as some language and common sense. There won't be any more. Have I become a perpetual punishment dragon in my emotions? Or is it a perpetual punishment dragon living in the exiled abyss of Kazari? Murphy felt a tingling sensation on her scalp as soon as she thought about his situation. Kazari is a dark and desperate plane, a plane of exiles, and a prison in the multiverse. Hate here is a deep, slow-flowing river. Betrayal is an incredibly powerful torrent. Every creature that wants to escape here wants to get rid of these, but hardly any creature has been able to succeed. An eternal punishment dragon is the prison guard and prisoner here, preying on weaker residents for a living. Likes the body of monsters and the guilty soul. But without any accidents, Murphy, who has no father or mother and is a wandering young dragon, will find it difficult to spend his childhood. Pop. Get lost. Murphy, who was in a bad mood, slapped a short-sighted demon away. Then I wanted to wipe my hands, but after looking at the decaying and pitch-black swamp, I thought about it and decided not to. Even newly released Eternal Punishment dragons have a health level of 8, which is not comparable to the original demons who only have a health level of 1. But none of these could alleviate Murphy's worries. Because in Kaisley, there are too many creatures stronger than level 8. Not to mention the various indigenous demons. Which of the criminals who can be imprisoned in this multiverse prison is easy to deal with? Even for priests, teleportation from another world belongs to the 5 Rings divine art. This means that imprisoning a criminal requires at least a 9th level priest to proceed. At level 8, the health level in Kaisley can only be considered as breaking away from the bottom food chain, unable to even touch the edges of the middle layer. Bullying these weak demons, Murphy didn't feel happy at all. Goo-goo. A sound of gastrointestinal peristalsis came from Murphy's stomach. Murphy looked at the eggshell covered in mud and couldn't swallow it. Even though there was a fragrance emanating from his nostrils, he still felt a sense of unease in his heart, having lived as a human for so many years. Can it be changed in a moment? Why did I struggle so hard when I was born? All the eggshells got stuck in the soil and there was nothing clean. The first meal of an abandoned chick dragon is often its eggshell. This practice not only ensures that the cubs have a sufficient amount of important minerals, but also provides an alternative to attacking and eating their littermates. The problem was that Murphy looked carefully, and there were no brothers or sisters near him. Only his lonely dragon stood in the swamp. No, there is still a group of crazy original demons who have killed Red Eyes. The battles between them can be described as extremely primitive, with no skill at all. Sharp teeth, hands and feet with sharp claws are all their weapons. Despite being primitive, the battles between the original demons were extremely bloody. They are demons with extremely tenacious vitality, covered in blood and torn muscles, still exerting all their strength to cause harm to the other party. And a demon with crimson eyes saw Murphy standing on the side, out of place. Without hesitation, he rushed towards him. Bang! This equally inexperienced demon was naturally knocked away by Murphy. He doesn't want these dirty and ugly creatures to touch his body. However, this original demon is neither unique nor unique. More and more original demons are charging towards Murphy. At first, Murphy wanted to dodge, but as the number of original demons increased, a hint of tyranny began to appear in his eyes. As a prison guard, Yampanlong is naturally not a kind race. There are violent factors circulating in the bloodstream, gradually influencing Murphy through physiological factors. Damn it, these fools. I'm 4.8 meters long and dare to provoke me. Unfortunately, the process of mortals becoming demons is so overwhelming that this feeling is enough to make creatures violent and insane. Reason has long been forgotten by the original demons. Even the yellow worm with a face slowly moved over, wanting to climb onto Murphy and bite him. Roar! Murphy let out a roar, and the fierce dragon power completely intimidated these original demons. Not only that, Murphy looked at these disgusting and deformed monsters and felt an urge to tear them apart. Instead of repeatedly enduring and letting them touch their own bodies. Who? Murphy flapped her wings and rushed towards the nearest demon like a gust of wind. Sharp claws inserted into the tender white fat, exuding a yellowish oil stain and bright red blood. Shit! Murphy inserted both claws into the body of the original demon and tore it apart with force. Like tearing apart bread, the demon in front of him was torn into a pile of flesh by Murphy, exploding into a tumultuous cloud of poison. The white and tender maggots are wriggling in their minced meat, slowly absorbing their strength and essence. It smells so good. This is a feeling in Murphy's heart, and it is also the physiological instinct of the eternal punishment dragon. The physical body and sinful soul of monsters are their favorite foods. Gudong. Hunger came again from Murphy's stomach. This time he didn't hesitate anymore, but flew towards the next original demon. Extend his long neck and big head. Open your big mouth covered in sharp teeth. Click. 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 The chewiness of bones, the smoothness of fat, and the fragrance of the soul are transmitted from the taste buds, and every sensation stimulates Murphy's brain and touches his soul. His pitch-black eyes revealed bloodthirsty brutality. You devoured the soul of the original demon and gained 200 experience points. Murphy's vertical pupils were even brighter, shining like a black ruby. He rushed towards the next demon without hesitation. This book is based on D&D. Cold Knowledge 1. There is no saying that a dragon is born by its real name. Cold Knowledge 2. Giant dragons have a very strong reproductive ability, with 2 to 5 dragon eggs per nest and 1 nest per year. Cold Knowledge 3. Dragon eggs that receive appropriate care and hatching have almost a 100% hatching rate. Cold Knowledge 4. Dragon beasts are not hatched from dragon eggs, let alone young dragons whose intelligence degenerates into wild beasts. Cold Knowledge 5. Challenge level and health dice are different. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Property Panel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Property Panel. You devoured the incomplete soul of the original demon and gained 100 experience points. After swallowing half of the body of the second demon, Murphy couldn't eat it anymore. His weight is only 120 kilograms, while a demon weighs 30 kilograms. Murphy's ability to eat 1/3 of her body weight can be considered as the unique structure of the dragon's body. Ah! Murphy, who belched heavily, suddenly froze and a sense of fear surged into her heart. What's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? Murphy's heart was full of mixed flavors, and he felt a pang of nausea, but his body's reaction told him it was normal. The aroma of the nose and the aroma of the mouth. Everyone is telling Murphy that the physical body of the demon and the guilty soul are so delicious. It is the best growth food for the eternal punishment dragon. My impulse just now was completely rooted in the instinct of the body of the eternal punishment dragon. Moreover, Murphy looked at the attribute panel in her consciousness. Name. Murphy Race. Eternal Punishment Dragon Attributes. Strength 17, Agility 10, Constitution 15, Intelligence 17, Perception 15, Charm 14 Camp. Lawful Evil, Health Level. Level 8, 0/11,000, Health. 112/112 Exemption. Resilience 8, Reflex 6, Will 8 Attack Damage. Bite 6.13, Claw Grasp 4.9, Wing Racket 2.5, Tail Racket 8.13 Special Attacks. Dragon Breath 2.16, DC 16, Dragon Power, DC 16, Special Abilities. Innate Armor 7, Spell Resistance 15, Immune Paralysis, Immune Sleep, Dark Vision, Dim Vision, Blindness, Experience Value. 300 Skill Point. 0 Specialization Point. 0 Attribute Point. 0 Skills. Focus 11, Knowledge, Arcane, 5, Knowledge, Geography, 5, Knowledge, History, 5, Knowledge, Local, 11, Knowledge, Nature, 9, Knowledge, Noble and Royal, 4, Knowledge, Plain, 7, Knowledge, Religion, 6, Listening 11, Searching 11, Spell Identification 5, Scout 11 Specialization. Resistance to Force Field, Willpower, and Ease of Movement Language. Common Language, Dragon Language, Abyss Language, Hell Language, when Murphy was worried about how to survive in the dangerous and hurried Casely. The cheats brought by time travel tell him that as long as he hunts his soul, he can gain experience points and grow quickly. No need to go through the long growth period of dragons. The way to obtain the soul is through eating. Different from organisms on the main material plane. Most creatures on the outer plane are one body and soul. The growth of the original demon is the best example, as the abyss directly distorts evil souls into abyssal worms. Then they devour each other and evolve into the original demon. There is no distinction between the physical body and the soul at all. There is only one way for Murphy to gain enough experience points to upgrade. That is to eat the original demon directly. Are you obsessed with cleanliness? Still dying? Murphy licked her ferocious mouth and ultimately chose to die. Because the guilty soul is truly fragrant. Murphy admitted that she was influenced by the legacy of the eternal punishment dragon and her instincts. But in order to survive, what are these costs worth? And what I devour is the soul of sinners, it is also a punishment for sinners and a blessing for good people. He is the judge of justice. Sometimes when people act, they often need an excuse, which is a self-protection strategy of living beings. Even under the influence of the eternal punishment dragon, Murphy has gradually undergone a transformation. The remaining human nature has not been completely annihilated. Next, Murphy plans to find a safe place to live and quietly digest the food in her stomach. After searching for a while, I couldn't find it. The safest location is simply to use overgrown weeds to cover the body. What kind of cave? There are no single-sided defensive locations at all. The place where Murphy is located is the first interface of the filthy swamp prison layer of Casely, which is the prison layer where the Styx River flows. The channel of the Styx River carves the soft ground into a vast and profound place of eternal decay. It is a country composed of huge swamps and quicksand. There are hardly any mountains, even a small mound is lacking, so naturally there are no livable caves. It is precisely because the red light emitted from the surface of the earth illuminates the entire world like a red light zone. Combined with shrubs and weeds, the worm demon by the Mingi River can be described as eerie and creepy. This makes Murphy a bit speechless. Demons don't need to sleep, but dragons do. Even if the dragon's brain is large enough and well-developed enough, it can take turns resting in the memory and reasoning areas, similar to dolphins. However, a complete sleep is still necessary for the dragon. Especially for young dragons, sufficient sleep helps to complete the development of their nervous system. Enhance his intelligence and sharpen his visual, auditory, and olfactory senses. It is more conducive to the fusion of eternal punishment dragon and magical energy within the body, quickly crossing the dragon's life stage. Don't sleep, don't sleep. Did I miss that little growth time? Even if it grows to a young dragon, it will take 5 or 6 years. If it develops poorly, it will result in poor development. I have a system and I can quickly reach level 11. Level 11 is the juvenile stage of the eternal punishment dragon, following Murphy's current speed of devouring demon souls. He only needs 3 months to arrive, much faster than the other dragons. If it weren't for the food being consumed, it would still require digestion in the stomach. Murphy can grow into a young dragon in just a few days. For the time being, let's stay near the Styx River basin and have meals with these inexperienced demons every day. Generally speaking, other types of demons are rarely found near the Styx River basin. Because the worms and original demons born here have too low level power essence, no demon is willing to come here to hunt. At most, it can only serve as a snack for higher level demons and is not worth wasting time. The second is the harsh environment, which occasionally triggers tides in the Styx River and can cause damage to any surrounding organisms. Including but not limited to symptoms such as muscle decay, hair loss, and memory loss. Murphy doesn't care about these things, on the contrary. He is now devouring the soul of the original demon and can also gain experience points. And when the tide of the Styx comes, won't he escape? He is not foolish, just like people who watched the tide in their past lives, staying in place and being washed away by the tide. Although the 3 demons are demons, they also possess desires. I also want to live in a better place and even enslave a group of creatures, such as humans, dwarves, elves, etc., to serve me. Yes, the abyss is not just a place full of demons, but also inhabited by many races. Especially in Kasserine, the environment is superior, except for the slightly eerie light source. there is not much difference from the material plane. Not only are there various humanoid organisms, but also various animals living in a complete ecosystem. Murphy can even catch loaches in the swamp to eat. But Murphy, who was solely focused on upgrading, wouldn't do this. His spare stomach would only leave space for the demon. I don't know if I have any experience in punishment, otherwise I would have to endure to the stage of Tai Gu Long before coming out of the mountain. No, it's better to surpass the ancient dragon. As a loyal player of RPG games, Murphy has a heart that can endure loneliness. Once, in order to brush equipment and create materials, I was able to work continuously for 6 months without leaving my home, and at most, I could go downstairs and dispose of garbage. And the Styx River area is also very large. The Cartesian plane is infinite, and although there are limited planets for living organisms to inhabit, the limit is also significant. At least the living area possessed by the filthy swamp prison layer far exceeds that of the planet in Murphy's past life. Not to mention the Styx River that runs through the entire swamp prison layer. Short-lived humans will never be able to travel throughout their entire lives. Besides, the improvement obtained from upgrading is not just paper-based data in the game, but Murphy's actual physical fitness. The feeling of being able to strengthen step by step made him very fascinated. One day, I will become Khazri's most powerful existence. The souls of all sinners are my food. At that time, I will no longer be a prisoner, but the warden of the entire prison. First of all, I declare that this book was written by me. Although it was based on D&D, the author still has their own village regulations. So don't be so conflicted about settings and the like. If you insist on pointing out your mistakes to me, please come up with the source and don't just open your mouth. Specific rule books, extensions, or dragon miscellaneous items must be specified, otherwise they are all part of one's own village regulations. But remember not to follow the rules of PF or other third-party products. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Upgrading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Upgrading. Safely hiding in the bushes, Murphy slowly restrained his dragon power. Staring greedily at the fighting demons on the edge of the Styx River. 27 days have passed since his birth. These days, Murphy has been camping and eating 2 bites of the original demon when hungry, and taking a sip of the mud and water on the ground when thirsty. Not a moment is spent sleeping. In my free time, I am studying the battles of the original demons and carefully considering how to solve them more easily. This also increased Murphy's combat skills. And today, Murphy's experience value finally reached 10,800 points. This means that if he devours another original demon, he can meet the conditions for upgrading. Bang! Feeling that Murphy had almost digested her stomach, she kicked her back and flapped her wings as she charged towards the nearest demon. Open your big mouth and take a bite. Click. This demon had no time to resist, so Murphy bit off its head and swallowed it into its belly. The other original demons saw the arrival of an unexpected guest. There is no such thing as working together, except for the original demon that lost its opponent due to Murphy devouring it. The rest of the original demons ignored Murphy. But this is only temporary, as the original demons fought and then shifted their targets again. This is a manifestation of abyssal chaos. And the massive Murphy, as a good target, naturally attracted most of the firepower. But in Murphy's eyes, these attacks were soft and powerless, making it difficult for them to break through the scales on his body, whether it was claw or bite. On the contrary, the clinking sound became Murphy's blessing song for her promotion to level 9. Did you spend 11,000 experience points to increase your health level to level 9? Yes. Your health level has been raised to level 9. You have obtained 9 skill points. 6 plus, intellect point 10/2, rounded, you have obtained 1 expertise point. Your power has increased. 1718. Your health has increased by 112/126. The process of upgrading is very rapid, and the experience points transformed from souls are rapidly transformed into various substances under unknown forces. To compensate for Murphy's rapid cell division, the entire body was growing rapidly, expanding by 1/3 like blowing a balloon. The surrounding original demons were immediately knocked away and rolled towards the surroundings. Cool, so cool, Murphy thought to herself. In just a short moment, Murphy's strength has also improved to a certain extent after completing the 2-year journey of other dragons. Skill points, don't be in a hurry. Anyway, these garbage demons are not worth my consumption. However, I need to carefully consider my areas of expertise. Expertise is a manifestation of a biological ability, just like Murphy's 3 specialties, all of which bring extraordinary abilities to Murphy. Force field resistance. The Eternal Punishment Dragon has a +4 racial bonus on save checks against force field-based spells and effects. Free movement. The Eternal Punishment Dragon can move and attack normally, ignoring any magic that usually hinders movement, such as monster immobilization, paralysis, heavy fog, slowness, and spider web. Willpower. The Eternal Punishment Dragon has a +4 morale bonus on save checks against the effects of charm and coercion. What exactly is good to order? Murphy is still a bit conflicted. He feels like he lacks both attack and defense, as well as movement speed. There is only 1 point of expertise available, and only 1 point can be obtained for every 3 levels of improvement, which is very valuable. Dharma Resistance Awakening. Each time you acquire this skill, your inner spell resistance is increased by 2. Enduring Strike. You receive 2/ damage reduction. It accumulates with any damage reduction you receive from other sources. Spit instantly. You can release your dragon breath in just one thought. Spit diffusion. You can transform your dragon breath into a diffusion effect. Increase speed. Increase all your movement speed by 20%, and increase the damage value by +1 for each age stage of a dragon when attacking. Murphy looked at the densely packed list of specialties and didn't know what to choose for a moment. Forget it, the only martial arts skill in the world that is fast and unbreakable, then I'll accelerate. After hesitating for a while, Murphy finally chose to increase her speed. The effect is also simple and rough, anyway, the world momentum theorem can still work. Increasing movement speed also increases Murphy's own attack power. For example, Murphy increased damage by 1 point during the Drake stage, and also increased defense when fleeing. Squeak. Squeak. After completing the selection of specialties, Murphy's body underwent another change. The body has become more slender, with dark black scales tightly adhering to the surface, making it smoother and more aerodynamic. The skeletal muscle structure is undergoing changes, making the body more agile. Bang! Murphy accelerated and knocked the original demon in a straight line ahead in one breath, breaking through 20 meters per second in just a moment. This made Murphy very satisfied, and then he stretched his slender neck and swallowed the nearby demon in one gulp. After upgrading, his body size increased and he once again had free space in his stomach. Eat a high-protein original magic supplement. Click. Click. But after waiting for a long time, Murphy didn't see any prompts uploaded from the cheat, as if Murphy had not eaten anything. Sure enough, it's an experiential punishment. The attribute panel obtained by Murphy is particularly similar to a game he previously played. As long as you level 8 above the monster level, you will not gain any experience points. The most important thing is that after the experience bar overflows, you will be punished and not given any opportunity to store experience card levels. Murphy began to feel a headache. Did her life of wandering end before it even began? No, whether it's demons, or gods, they all crave the souls of mortals. It is said that the devil has the means to torture the souls of mortals and extract divine energy. And the gods have gained unimaginable power through their ordinary souls. These knowledge are derived from the inheritance of the eternal punishment dragon, which is rare, one-sided, and not necessarily true. But it all indicates that Murphy's way of devouring souls is definitely the least efficient. Even the souls of mortals are useful to gods, it cannot be due to differences in rank. And this power is not the power of faith that some mortals speculate. How could there be such a good thing as believing in oneself and gaining strength? If faith can truly provide power, then the devil is definitely the greatest beneficiary. The hierarchical network, tempting incitement, fanatical believers, and the devil's church should provide far more power of faith than the divine church. But the gods are the masters of this world, and their churches are also the mainstream of the material plane of the Lord. Of course, Murphy was just thinking about these things in her mind. He, as a young dragon, wouldn't know such knowledge. Those who master these mysteries have already ascended to the divine realm. At this moment, a pair of original demons were fighting next to Murphy. One of them successfully killed the other and plundered its power and essence. This successful demon experienced a twisting and swelling of its body. Transformed into a hunchbacked, short figure 1.8 meters tall, with a distorted body due to asymmetry. On the slender head, there are small red eyes filled with hatred, and on the bare skin mottled with green and purple, there are occasionally one or two hard mane patches that look uncomfortable. This is a monster, a type of demon with at least 5 health levels but weak strength. Murphy's eyes lit up as she witnessed all of this. It didn't matter if the original demon was useless anymore, the evolved monster was even better. The original Murphy was unwilling to capture these evolved demons. Because these evolved demons still have some strength, what if there is an accident during the devouring process? It's not good if there were no accidents or injuries. Based on Murphy's experience watching Animal World, hunters in the wild often start the countdown to their lifespan when they are injured. Some minor injuries are easy to say, just hold on and they will pass. Severe injuries can cause wound infections, leading to a series of complications and a decline in physical function, ultimately leading to death. This doesn't make much difference for young dragons either. The physique of juvenile dragons is relatively low, and their body resistance is not as strong as that of adult dragons. After being injured and unable to hunt, it's okay to say that eating soil can make it through. After all, dragons have strong digestive abilities, and with the help of magical energy, many things can be easily digested and energy can also be obtained. If you get injured, it's really deadly. Especially when hunting with injuries, if one mistake leads to death, wouldn't it be regretful? So Murphy has always been unwilling to devour these evolved demons, and when she sees them, she will also avoid them. But now you cannot gain experience points on the original demon. Then I can only apologize to the evolved demon. Murphy has taken your souls. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Summoning Tanali. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Summoning Tanali. Evolving from a primitive demon to a twisted demon. Apart from a change in strength, the biggest change is the increase in intelligence from 3 points to 9 points. The image point is that it has transformed from a beast to a human. Rationality slightly overpowered instinct, and the ferocity and madness in the eyes also decreased slightly. The monster immediately noticed the giant dragon with greedy and erect pupils beside it. The young dragon in front of him stood at a height of only 1.5 meters, only reaching the chest of the monster, but he was on all fours and had already reached a length of 6 meters. The limbs are thick and strong, with dark green scales intertwined on the body, reflecting a cold light. Combined with a much larger proportion of the head of juvenile dragons compared to adult dragons, as well as the fluid sliding from the corners of their mouths and their tattered wings. In the world of red light like Casely, there is no ordinary cuteness of a young dragon. Ah! A panicked scream echoed in Murphy's heart. This is a common telepathy among demons, they never speak without their mouths, or rather, this monster has become so flustered that it cannot use its mouth. Did you win Long Way? Murphy muttered to himself that the previous Genmo was crazy and violent, almost making him think this feature was ineffective. As long as Murphy unleashes the dragon power, any creature with a lower health level will be intimidated. Only creatures that have successfully saved their willpower can be immune to Long Way for 24 hours. Those below health level 4 will feel fear, while those above health level 5 will feel trembling. And this monster has relatively weak strength, which does not mean its health level is not high. A level 5 health level is enough to prevent it from fear, but its body has already begun to tremble. Unable to perform at normal levels when facing Murphy's attack. The green arm, covered in various bone knots, frequently made attack mistakes and struck Murphy's scales with force similar to that of a weak demon. It's impossible to break Murphy's defense at all. Faced with such a situation, Murphy breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. In theory, this monster's ability is sufficient. As long as you remain calm, there is a 40% chance of causing damage to Murphy by attacking the same scale multiple times or grabbing the gaps between the scales. Under the intimidation of Long Way, this monster was violently beaten by Murphy and then stomped on its feet. The limbs and teeth were broken by Murphy, completely disarming the monster. It's really tough this time. As soon as the demon level rises, the level of innate armor is also increasing. Combined with the disgusting damage reduction, it's becoming increasingly difficult to deal with. That's why Murphy doesn't want to face high-level demons. Even small monsters have a natural armor of 6 points, which is only 1 point lower than him. And there is also a 5-point damage reduction, which can only be offset by cold iron weapons or weapons from kind-hearted factions. Simply put, if Murphy's attack falls on the monster, it will weaken by 5 points. Besides exhaling, Murphy's most powerful attack was a tail slap. The maximum damage dealt is 13 points, with 5 points deducted and 8 points remaining. The monster has at least 37 health points, and Murphy needs to attack 5 times to kill it. But theoretically, as long as the monster is alive, it slightly dodges the attack position of Murphy's tail and does not hit the target. Murphy can only deal 3 damage to it, and there will also be ineffective damage to evade attacks. This is really too troublesome, it won't take even a minute or two. Even if you breathe, you need to accumulate energy and cannot spray continuously. It's completely not something that Genmo swallows in one gulp. And these 1 or 2 minutes were full of explosive energy. For any living organism, the amount of physical energy consumed is enormous. In his past life, Murphy was a predator watching Animal World. Hunting battles never lasted more than a minute, and after that, he basically had no physical strength. Just like in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, athletes are out of breath after playing for 2 or 3 minutes. What a 10-minute, half an hour, day and night battle is all nonsense. Real battles are constantly changing, and with full force, the battle can end within 5 minutes. If the battle doesn't end, both sides will exhaust their energy and become exhausted. This situation is the same for young dragons and low-level demons. Why can Murphy easily achieve unparalleled success in the original demon pile? It has a great relationship with these fools with 3 points of intelligence constantly fighting, and their physical strength is never full. Attacking the soft and fluffy, in Murphy's eyes, was like pulling at each other's hair. This is also why it is difficult for the original demons to evolve. Even the most powerful original demons in the same level, once their stamina is exhausted, are still fat sheep that can be slaughtered by others. The real world is so cruel, and defeating opponents is only a condition for victory. The most important purpose of all living organisms is still survival. Fortunately, this foolish monster has been hit by dragon power, making it easier to deal with. Murphy whispered softly, grabbing the monster and leaping up, flapping his wings as he left the area. He has to wait for the food in his stomach to be digested before devouring it. Anyway, he doesn't want to stay in the place where the original demons are gathering. If another evolved original demon appears, Murphy can't guarantee his safety. The abnormal demon is just one of the evolutionary directions of the weak original demon. A more powerful evolutionary demon has not yet truly emerged. The most unique thing is that this evolutionary theory is the most despicable and cruel of the original demons, which can evolve into powerful snake-wolf demons and ballotitis demons. However, in fact, some scholars have conducted statistics on this. I think the above statement is completely nonsense. The evolution of the original demon is not standardized, and the specific evolution into what it looks like is entirely a momentary rise of the will of the abyss. So don't worry, Murphy is very comfortable facing a group of weak original demons all day long. It is uncertain which day a super evolution will occur. Murphy is done for. Of course, this probability is very small, otherwise Murphy would have slipped away long ago. And going to another place doesn't necessarily mean safety. As long as Murphy's strength is not strong enough, there will always be danger. It's better to devour demons as much as possible and upgrade quickly. Because only strong strength is the greatest guarantee for living in Kaisley. Who? In the sky, Murphy enjoyed the feeling of the strong wind brushing against her face. The giant dragon was such a good creature that even if it had just broken an egg, it could fly. Although this kind of flight is like a frightened chicken or duck, frantically flapping the air. But at least it can fly and stay away from the battles of demons below. Ha! The strange demon held by Murphy's paws suddenly emitted mysterious and unpredictable written symbols. His heart was startled, wondering if there were any other magical abilities that could overturn this monster. But Murphy thought it was not right. According to the inheritance of the eternal punishment dragon, the devil only possesses dark art, fear art, blasphemy art, and summoning Tanali. These spells have no effect on Murphy at all. He has dark vision, and his health level reaches level 6 or above in the horror spell, making him immune directly. Blasphemy only has a bonus on undead creatures and has no effect at all. Summoning Tanali, the monster can attempt to summon one monster or 1.6 cowardly demons with a 35% chance of success. Then Murphy stared at him intently, with every trace of casting a spell, as he did now, squeezing it tightly with his giant claws. With a click, there was a bone fracture sound, and he wanted to interrupt the casting of the demon. Despite this, the mysterious symbols on this monster's body continued to accumulate and gradually spread throughout its entire body. No, this is not a monster casting spells, it's other creatures using summoning Tanali. Murphy only had 5 spell recognition points and finally barely recognized this spell. He quickly threw the monster towards his mouth, caught it, and took a fierce bite. Even if his stomach was uncomfortable, he would swallow it whole. Summoning Tanali is a universal summoning spell for Tanali demons. Generally speaking, the powerful demons of Khazri will summon these evolved demons at regular times every day and replenish them into their demon army. Although the summoning time will come back, commands can be issued at that time. And the monster in Murphy's hand happened to be in time for them to summon. So Murphy is anxious. The prey that I have worked hard to catch cannot be easily taken away by you. However, despite this, the monster still slowly disappeared into the air with half of its body. 1dn is a dice with n sides, and the number of points produced by the dice is the same as the number of points. Equivalent to a range of 1n. For example, the damage of 1d6 ranges from 1 to 6, which is used by players in dice games and authors in books. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Promotion of Demons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Promotion of Demons, bad luck, really bad luck. Murphy, who was flying in the air, was furious and only gained 300 experience points after devouring the monster. The loss was too great, and it made my stomach extremely uncomfortable. Now flying in the air feels a faint pain. Murphy quickly and slowly landed to rest. He felt a bit uneasy in his heart. Demons are such despicable creatures. After death, unless special means are used, the bodies of demons will mostly slowly disappear due to the power of the abyss. There are various ways to disappear, including turning into a pitch black, tar-like pus, a powder, or even a small statue. The entire process is generally 1 hour, but it can also be as short as a few minutes, or as long as a day and rarely exceed a day. In short, this is an uncertain time. Because they are originally twisted souls by the power of the abyss, they are very different from creatures on the main material plane. This is also the reason why Murphy didn't immediately kill the monster when he caught it. He can certainly take a gamble and not disappear for a whole day. But Murphy felt that such a thing was really unnecessary, and he didn't expect to be summoned by other demons. He felt unlucky that there were endless demons in the abyss, and there were also many demons in Kaisley. So skillfully summoning the monster he caught. Is that demon who uses summoning techniques a fool? What is summoning an abandoned demon for? Or rather, encountering a diseased demon, and committing a mistake that all demons would make in a blink of an eye. Shit, the taste of the monster is like crispy bones, full of chewiness. I haven't enjoyed it for long before it's gone. How unlucky. Murphy finally sighed and decided to wait for her stomach to digest before proceeding with the next hunt. Otherwise, encountering a scene where food is missing is really unbearable. I still have poor digestive ability. If only I could digest food quickly. In this way, it will not be limited by insufficient stomach capacity and unable to upgrade quickly. On a planet in the Castelli Swamp Dungeon, there is a place called the Corica Mountains, where there is a rough-style stone building complex. In these architectural complexes, there are many demons living. Pop. Waste thing, is this the monster you summoned? A tall and slender woman holding a whip, with few clothes on her body, fair and flawless skin, and a finely crafted appearance, scolded. Her seductive appearance has exotic features, with wide bat-like wings on her back that can wrap around her whole body, and a mouse-like tail that is about the same length as her height. This is the enchanting demon in the abyss, and also the most beautiful demon in the abyss. In front of her was a 0.6-meter tall humanoid creature with pointed horns and bat wings, slender hands and feet, long claws on fingers, and green skin covered with tumors and pus. This kind of demon is called the Quasar demon, and at this time it allows the demon in front of it to whip it without making any resistance. I'm sorry, Lord Margaret. This monster is likely to have suffered serious damage during summoning, that's why it's like this. Quasar Mo humbly said, the demon is of medium rank and strict. The upper-level demon has the right to take life and death from the lower-level demon. Especially the Tanali demon, evolved from chaotic and evil mortal souls, possesses the powerful ability to summon its own kind. This Quasar demon is weaker than the monster in the demon's evolution map. If it weren't for its health level reaching level 6 and the summoned monster being seriously injured. Even half of the body was summoned, theoretically this summoning should have failed. Pop pop pop. The whip in the hand of the enchanting Marguerite continued to wave, causing Quasar's blood to flow. MD, dare you argue? If it weren't for you, a useless person, the quality of the summoned demon wouldn't be so poor. Margaret's eyes sparkled with evil desire. Does she understand the reason for summoning failure? She certainly understands, but what does this have to do with her? The demonic society is filled with the law of the fittest, various forms of oppression and bullying, despite the constraints of powerful demons, able to maintain overall order. However, in reality, the demon army is plagued by severe internal friction. The demons summoned every day are said to be replenishing legions, but most of them have entered the mouths of higher-level demons. Therefore, even if demons are endless, the number of demon legions is always limited. It's not that powerful demons cannot afford to be raised, demons are different from ordinary creatures. They don't need to eat and have no concept of being unable to be raised. But rather devouring the evolution of their own kind, which is their innate ability bestowed by the abyss. This Quasar, in Margaret's view, is a tool for producing food. She wouldn't summon herself because it would be a loss of her strength. In a demonic society, maintaining strength, even on the surface, is necessary. The demon summoned personally has control, but it is more reliable than so-called confidence. Quasar looked at the greed in Marguerite's eyes and instantly understood that he was afraid to die today. Master, spare your life. Master, spare your life. I smelled the smell of the eternal punishment dragon on this monster corpse. And I see that the fracture on this monster's body is clearly a dragon tooth. Based on its size, it can be inferred that it is a juvenile dragon. Quasar is also a cunning demon in the demon camp, and he quickly came up with a way to survive. That is to shift the attention of the enchanting Margaret to a young dragon. It's the summoning technique I use, and I have a rough idea of the location of the summoning. Margaret's eyes showed a hint of interest. You should know that the promotion of demons is a complex matter. It's not just about simply devouring the essence of the predatory power of the same kind, you also need to be favored by the abyss. Simply put, it means having a qualification certificate. But the will of the abyss itself is chaotic and disorderly, and naturally this kind of indulgence is also chaotic and disorderly. Some demons, even if they devour countless of their own kind, cannot be promoted successfully after centuries of effort. And some original demons have just devoured a similar species and immediately undergo a super great evolution, even if they directly become below flame demons. But no matter what, there is always an irregular pattern. That is to defeat powerful creatures, have a greater chance of advancing, and be defeated by the weak, and even degenerate. Those demons who once died on the main material plane, even if successfully resurrected in the abyss, will themselves degrade, even to the level of the original demon. Without a doubt, the eternal punishment dragon is a powerful creature. Even a young dragon, its power is incredibly powerful. Margaret is a demon with great ambition, and she is not willing to be a level 12 succubus. She wants to evolve into a stronger demon. Young dragons. Generally speaking, there are adult permanent punishment dragons to protect us. This is a presence that our Lord dare not easily provoke. The Lord here refers to the Lord in the Corinthian mountains, the superior of the succubus and the quasar. Quasar fell down and loudly said, Lord Margaret, this creature, the eternal punishment dragon, can only live in the second to fourth layers of Casely. Being able to live in the first layer of the swamp prison is definitely an abandoned young dragon. Mayma's face lit up with red light, and her chest began to fluctuate violently. She was moved, and Quasar's words stimulated her soul. Pop. The whip continued to swing, and Margaret said, Then why don't you get up quickly and lead me forward? She decided to take action, as for more thinking. It is enough for a demon with chaotic nature to think so much, and in most cases, they do whatever they want according to their true intentions. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The Beginning of Magic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The beginning of magic. Hunting in the abyss is always dull and boring. The yellow worm twisted from the soul of a sinner, and the original demon evolved from the worm. The scene of tirelessly fighting by the banks of the Styx River will continue day after day until the end of the multiverse. Who? Murphy, hidden in the bushes, skillfully flew towards a humanoid creature. This humanoid creature is only 1.2 meters tall, with a bulky figure, huge arms hanging to the ground, and a hunched back. The skin is pale and sickly, and the loose and open mouth is covered with dense small pointed teeth. It is the cowardly demon in the abyss, the lowest level demon besides the original demon. And it belongs to a pitiful creature with only 5 points of intelligence. Dull and foolish, not good at fighting, therefore naturally more afraid of death than other demons. When the cowardly demon saw Murphy's figure, the first thing it did was drag its heavy body away. This may be either the effect of long way or its inherent nature. In the battle between demons, unless there is a powerful demon supervising the battle, the first ones to escape when there is a wind or grass blowing are the cowardly demons. Wow! A gray-brown cloud emerged from the cowardly demon and flew towards Murphy. The speed was extremely fast, and Murphy, who was flying, had no time to turn, so he couldn't dodge. Moreover, Murphy recognized the spell through spell recognition, and his expression only changed slightly, feeling that there was no need to dodge. Buzz! As soon as Pooh came into contact with the clouds and mist, Murphy felt a roar from the sky and couldn't help but close her nose tightly. This is a strong odor that exceeds biological limits. It smells much worse than sewage or septic tanks. The only thing that can be compared is the foul odor of similar corpses after decay, even far exceeding it. Murphy's body couldn't help but tremble, feeling nauseous. But under the powerful resilience exemption, this kind of thing never happened, but Murphy still felt nauseous. Even if it breaks through the clouds, there is still a strong odor lingering between the nostrils. Damn it, stinky cloud technique. Murphy felt fierce in her heart, and her flying speed became even faster. This cowardly demon definitely did not fall under the influence of Long Wei, it was just a simple cowardice. Because even the unique spell-like abilities of monsters require focused attention, let alone instant casting. If you really hit the dragon power, casting would have already failed. Even Murphy had seen that this cowardly demon, in order to save its own life, had actively stained the clouds of the stinky cloud technique. It can be said that even before death, one must come and disgust oneself. But will Murphy let it go? A typical dragon may do it, but Murphy definitely won't. Don't you smell Changsha stinky tofu? Shoo! The huge dragon head protruded and devoured towards the cowardly demon ahead. This is the main attack method of the dragon. 1 inch long and 1 inch strong, compared to claws, wings, and tail, the dragon's long neck is undoubtedly the farthest weapon to attack. Even the powerful bite force of the upper and lower jaws is comparable to tail flick, the most powerful destructive weapon. Click. This cowardly demon has used all means, but still cannot escape the fate of death. Ah! The screams that echoed deep in Murphy's heart could not activate her compassion at all. Murphy, as a human being, finds twisted demons very disgusting and inherently evil. After entering the main material plane, he indiscriminately slaughters mortals and requires humanitarian destruction. On the dragon side, there is no such thing as mercy. As a prison guard, Yangpenlong does not rely on compassion to guard prisoners, but on death and fear. Click. Click. Sure enough, the timid demon infected with the stinky cloud technique smells bad. In fact, when eaten, the body is as smooth and tender as tofu, chewy, and the fragrance emitted by the soul is even more delicious against the backdrop of the foul smell. You devoured the soul of demon fear and gained 338 experience points. Murphy licked his mouth, and today's hunt is considered over. He can also rest now. This time Murphy plans to walk back, because of the timid nature of the demon, there are no annoying original demons around it. Eating a full meal is not advisable for vigorous exercise, it is necessary to take a walk for digestion. As she walked, Murphy suddenly let out a sigh. How boring. 10 days have passed since we reached level 9. During this period, Murphy had already thrown the useless original demons out of her recipe, but sometimes she got tired of eating other demons. As soon as I thought about the smooth and delicious taste of Genmo, I couldn't help but grab a little bit to serve as a snack. This approach reminded Murphy of a high-level demon, and she was able to adapt to Casely's rhythm and become one of them. Murphy looked up at the sky, and there were no stars, no sun, and no moon in Casely's sky. Only the endless red light emitted from surface planets. Should I just keep killing and killing? Is it like this, wasting time and gaining experience points to upgrade? After a creature has eaten and drunk enough, it needs to satisfy its own spiritual needs, and now Murphy has also reached this stage. Originating from the fear of Catherine, after living for over a month, it no longer feels as strong. The reason is simple. All living organisms have environmental adaptability, both psychologically and physiologically. As a mortal, turning into an eternal punishment dragon, facing this huge and evil prison for the first time, I naturally feel fearful. But in fact, it is precisely because of its vastness that even this plane is crowded with criminals from the multiverse. Spreading it apart is not so terrifying. The eternal punishment dragon is also a powerful giant dragon, and even the young dragon is not at the bottom of the food chain. What is there to fear? Murphy remembered watching Animal World, where in an ecological niche of an environment, there is always a place for species to reproduce and survive. This can be a healthy and long-lasting environment. Cacery has existed for so many points, and over time, it has evolved into a balance that belongs exclusively to itself. Therefore, he should be safe for now. In these days, I feel that I am already familiar with the dragon's combat experience. In terms of combat skills, we cannot improve them quickly in the near future. Murphy muttered to herself, he's really bored. Casely's time is also 24 hours a day, and no matter how much time he spends hunting and eating, he can't exceed an hour. When I used to be bored, I could still ponder the combat skills of dragons, but now I have encountered a bottleneck. It's not a breakthrough in the short term anymore. And here in Casely, there is no entertainment, and Murphy cannot sleep and survive like other dragons. Murphy, with an adult mindset, naturally felt extremely bored. No, I have to do things earlier, otherwise I will have to become a lunatic if this continues. Murphy had already felt that her recent hunting had become increasingly mechanical and numb, and only when she ate delicious food did she feel a hint of happiness. In order to prevent oneself from sinking and becoming a mentally abnormal lunatic, Murphy decided to find something to do, such as studying magic. Compared to fighting, Murphy, who was a research dog in his past life, was very interested in exploring the laws of nature in this world. Previously, due to environmental factors, it was not put on the agenda in a timely manner. But now, Murphy, who has initially stabilized, feels it's time to start. What is magic? This issue has always plagued wise men and philosophers. Even those who use the most powerful spells seem unwilling to give a simple answer. But unrefined magic cannot be seen, touched, tasted, smelled, or heard. This is the consensus of all spellcasters. Therefore, calling unrefined magic an inherent and incredible possibility in the universe is the best description. However, another unique idea emerged in Murphy's heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Knowledge, Arcane. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Knowledge, Arcane, spell, a creature that utilizes a mysterious energy source to shape it into a specific effect, power, or energy needed by the caster. Most scholars believe that this source of energy is unrefined magic, which exists in the same form as ordinary matter in the universe. Magic is just an element in the combination of things known to mortals and reality. You can find matter almost anywhere in the universe. Some scholars believe that even interstellar space and interstellar boundaries contain extremely small amounts of matter, so small that they cannot be seen or felt, but they still exist. Magic has also permeated the universe, although most people still do not know that it is an intangible existence. Since magic is intangible and ubiquitous, why describe it according to Murphy's idea that it is matter and particles? Why can't magic be an electromagnetic wave? Just like in the previous universe, the entire space is filled with countless electromagnetic waves. It is mostly invisible, intangible, tasteless, inaudible, and inaudible, but it can also carry information and energy. How similar is this to the so-called description of magic? And the way this universe uses magic is equivalent to using solar panels in previous lifetimes to absorb sunlight, electromagnetic waves, and obtain energy from it. However, the technology of utilizing electromagnetic waves in this universe is more advanced, or in other words, the form of magic here can be more utilized by living organisms. Of course, electromagnetic waves alone cannot simply summarize the nature of magic. Some scholars also believe that magic is a law of the multiverse. Thinking of this, Murphy became even more interested. The universe of the past life had four fundamental forces. This universe has magic, and magic can simulate almost all natural phenomena. This is not similar to using electromagnetic force to simulate 99% of natural phenomena in the universe in previous lifetimes. If possible, Murphy would like to shuttle between these two universes to study their differences. Perhaps we can discover the lowest and most fundamental theorem. However, all the above ideas are in the theoretical aspect. Just like string theory and M.theory in previous lives, it is not necessary to understand in order to use magic. At the level of application technology, further exploration is needed, such as how organisms can utilize magic. This is a headache-inducing problem. Murphy, as a giant dragon, was saddened to find that she couldn't directly sense any magic. Even if he knew that there was magical power flowing within his body, he could not directly sense it. Just like the presence of blood in a biological body, it utilizes changes in the skin and muscles to indirectly sense the flow of blood. Do I have to grow up to the stage of teenage dragon and wait until my body is fully developed to initially master the power of spells? As a dragon, Murphy can certainly use magic. But this kind of use requires adulthood, and mastering spells is instinctive. Dragon Warlock often showed no magic talent before puberty, just like the giant dragon. In Murphy's understanding, it is a magical organ that exists within the body of a giant dragon and requires time for growth and development. Not even organs, but rather some kind of organelle that resides within cells. Just like the photosynthesis of chloroplasts, these organelles can also utilize the ubiquitous unrefined magic. Instead of what is commonly believed, dragons are naturally capable of perceiving magic. Therefore, it is believed that most dragons are too lazy and do not study their own power, so they cannot use spells when they are underage. But this means that Murphy has to wait for her body to mature to use magic. How can Murphy tolerate it? One of his original intentions for studying magic is to alleviate this lonely and difficult time, isn't it? Since I am currently unable to use my instincts to cast spells, I will only learn to cast like a mage. But this is also an extremely difficult problem. Because Murphy never found a mage's inheritance in the memory inheritance of the eternal punishment dragon. This is a normal thing, and the content of memory inheritance is not infinite. The inheritance content of mages is very extensive. The design drawings of a previous airplane could fill a room. Not to mention having knowledge about spells. But that doesn't mean Murphy has no choice. Since he is considering studying magic, he naturally has a way to acquire knowledge of spells. Your knowledge, Arcane, has increased by 5 to 12. Boom. After Murphy spent 7 skill points and added them to knowledge, Arcane, an unknown stream of information flowed into his memory. He felt as if he had once come to a bookshelf, reading day and night with thick books. All kinds of knowledge flow in the mind. An endless mystery began to emerge in consciousness. By the time Murphy regained consciousness, the steps she had just taken had not yet fallen behind. In a blink of an eye, for thousands of years, the attribute panel is so magical. Murphy was pleasantly surprised that the system that accompanied him through time was so powerful, and the rewards he gained after adding points were also real, without any trace of moisture. And to be honest, Murphy thinks that in terms of skills, besides knowledge, other skills are not worth adding on your own because you can practice them yourself. Knowledge is vastly different, and it is the most precious asset no matter where it is. Especially advanced knowledge, the more top-notch it is, the more precious it becomes. Especially knowledge, arcane, which is the source of power for powerful spellcasters. It's even more difficult to obtain. And even if it is obtained at an extremely precious cost, it may not necessarily lead to successful learning. Even if one can successfully learn, the time consumed is incredibly long. But Murphy, just need to be gentle in your consciousness. It can be easily obtained and can skip the difficult learning process. No. Or it cannot be said to skip. Murphy really felt that there was an extra learning experience in her memory. It was this experience that elevated his knowledge, arcane skills, to 12 points. Murphy's understanding of arcane knowledge has been elevated to the level of a level 9 mage. Sure enough, these arcane knowledge have no magical models at all. The improvement brought about by knowledge, arcane, is equivalent to learning theoretical knowledge such as molecular biology, biochemistry, physical chemistry, and so on. You can compile a protein, spell model, based on these theories yourself. But the protein, spell model, that has already been created has not been taught to you at all. Belongs to the difference between theoretical technology and applied technology. However, Murphy was already very satisfied. No. Even particularly satisfied. Mastering the essence of magic is far more important for mages than mastering the application of magic. The latter will always only serve as a gunner, and the former can move towards the high level of the mage stage, towards the path of mastering the true power of the multiverse. Obtain legendary spells that intimidate the gods. Murphy once had a dream, which was to become the warden of Caseley. The plane of Caucasari is inhabited by gods. Especially in the 6th layer of Kazari. The Death Hell layer, the powerful god of death, Nara, resides on the throne of the hidden temple. His gaze pierced through Caseley, gazing down at the myriad planes. It is a joke to want to dominate this plane just by surpassing the ancient dragon without mastering the power of legendary spells. I will create some of my own spells, although this process takes a long time and the developed spells may not necessarily be stronger than classical models. But this is my path as a wizard. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Murphy's Digestive Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Murphy's Digestive Technique. After gaining an improvement in arcane knowledge, Murphy also understood that dragons were not incapable of perceiving magic. But all spellcasters cannot directly perceive magic. The spellcasters open their minds or spirits to face the existence of magic. Once they reach the correct mental or spiritual state through meditation, the caster will intuitively become aware of their magical potential. This consciousness may be accompanied by various feelings. Some spellcasters respond with a surge of confidence, a piercing pain from primitive power, or an impression of strong harmony. Some believe that this harmony is a strong and harmonious feeling, while others describe this phenomenon as tremors flowing through their limbs and organs. No matter how magical people's perceptions may be, these sensations will always be indirect, just like the biological perception of blood flow in the body. And different feelings essentially represent individuals wanting to shape magic into different forms. What spirit sees magical particles and observes various elements? All are speculations of mortals, just like the power of faith, the imagination of ignorant mortals towards extraordinary powers. Dark thoughts. I remember learning in my previous life that when electromagnetic waves have similar frequencies, interference occurs, and peaks and valleys are superimposed. And living beings also possess brainwaves. Is the so-called meditation difficulty changing the frequency of brainwaves to be similar to the frequency of magic waves, thereby triggering the power of magic? Murphy muttered to himself, this is a meditation method he understood through past life thinking. In this world, spellcasters divide the spirit into layers. Various theories such as the mind-body, ether-body, starlight-body, ID, superego, ego, spiritual level map, 7 layers of heaven, 9 layers of hell, etc. To analyze why meditation can trigger magic in the mind. Each school of thought has its own theory of self-improvement, as well as flaws that are difficult for ordinary people to identify. At least within their logical system, they are self-consistent. Without any new cosmic phenomena as evidence, you cannot refute the other party. As for what a mage believes, it is up to everyone to decide. Murphy's school is the spiritual frequency interference school he established himself, and it is unknown whether he is the pioneer in this universe. But at least there is no such knowledge in Murphy's acquisition. As the saying goes, theory does not affect practical operation. Even if the technology is a black box, being able to use it is a good technology. Murphy is not too conflicted about the true nature of magic, which is left for future exploration. Now he is starting to study the three elements of magic: spells, postures, and materials. As for why not cultivate the idea of meditation? Because meditation is not the kind of exercise that ordinary people understand. It is a way to increase so-called spiritual strength after cultivation. But as mentioned earlier, it is a way to activate magical power. It is a key, not a so-called energy source. Meditation and deep cultivation can indeed enhance the activity of biological consciousness. But this improvement is only limited to when you use the key to open the lock. It's faster and more stable, and then it's gone. It's not that you cultivate your dark thoughts to the point of earth-shattering, and by increasing your so-called spiritual power, you can use more magic. This is not the magic of this world, or rather the magic of this multiverse. If the magic of this universe is really like this, how can Murphy have a stable environment to engage in so-called meditation practice? Are you not afraid of being interrupted by wild monsters while meditating in the wilderness? In fact, the most important aspects of transforming magic into magic are always spells, postures, and materials. The three determine the shaping of magical power, which is the appearance of the spell model. Different spell models will display different spell effects. The more complex the model, the higher the ring magic of the spell. But it doesn't mean the spell is stronger, it can only be said to be a difference in functionality. And there are some foolishly designed spell models that are extremely complex, even reaching 9 rings. The function of this spell can actually be achieved with just 1 ring. Therefore, there is also the so-called classical model. These models are often the simplest, most practical, and versatile spells that flow through the multiverse. And Murphy also plans to start with spells, postures, and materials to develop a unique spell to solve the current dilemma. This spell can be named Murphy's Digestion. As the name suggests, this spell is used for digestion. At this stage, he has no intention of creating a spell with strong killing power, strong defense, or other combat-related functions. Because the significance of these spells is too small. Only digestion can provide the greatest help to Murphy at this stage. The biggest bottleneck that prevents him from upgrading is his small belly, which cannot support him to devour more demons and gain more experience points. He has also tried to eat the body of the original demon and then spit it out to reduce the burden on his stomach. As a result, Murphy found that after he vomited out the body of the original demon, his experience points also decreased. It seems that after swallowing the body of the original demon, it has become an essential part of Murphy. To spit it out is to reduce Murphy's essence. Murphy also understood that the other eternal punishment dragons were definitely not like this, they could only obtain soul nourishment after digestion. But Murphy doesn't need it. If he eats it, it belongs to him, but if he spits it out, it's not him. But after digestion, it will always belong to him. Of course, other eternal punishment dragons can devour the souls of sinners for growth, but their energy utilization efficiency is definitely not as efficient as Murphy's. This incredible ability belongs exclusively to Murphy. So, it is only natural for Murphy to develop a digestive technique. Normally, ordinary people in the material plane can develop drugs for digestion, but Murphy still doesn't believe it. Universal magic cannot create a small spell for digestion. Moreover, Murphy is not completely black and has a research direction. He plans to start by stimulating gastrointestinal peristalsis and blood supply, as well as improving the effectiveness of digestive fluids. Bang! Crushed stones splattered and smoke filled the air. The succubus Margaret was carrying a quasar demon and running away at lightning speed, with a spider monster the size of a horse behind them. This huge and deformed spider, with sharp teeth and foul-smelling mucus flowing from its mouth, has sharp barbs on its 8 huge feet. The feet extended over 4.2 meters in length and weighed over 2 tons. Every step leaves a deep footprint on the ground. Saba, you trash, where did you get this demon-hunting spider from? Margaret's beautiful big eyes spewed out anger, staring tightly at the quasar Saba in her hand. The journey to find the eternal punishment dragon is long and distant. Although they are demons and supernatural beings, in terms of footwork alone, they are not actually much superior to humans. It also requires crossing mountains and ridges, and there is no need to shrink the ground into an inch. Sir, I just went to pee in the nearby small forest and came across this demon-hunting spider. It wasn't intentional. Sabbath trembled as he, weak in strength, had no magical power among these powerful demons. Looking at Margaret's posture, there is a possibility of throwing him out at any moment as a way to attract the attention of the demon-hunting spider. Then activate the advanced teleportation technique and run back to the Corica Mountains. Mage is not a warrior by nature. When it comes to combat, it can hide as much as it can. There is no comparison to the demon-hunting spider, which is born to hunt and kill mortals and demons. Moreover, the life level of the demon-hunting spider is higher, and it cannot be defeated even in real combat. Although succulents can fly, demon-hunting spiders also have spider webs and are very good at capturing flying creatures. Suddenly, the figure of Quasar Saba slowly disappeared into the air, which was his spell-like ability, invisibility. Damn it! Invisibility is not about penetrating walls. Margaret could still feel the quasar in her hand, and she became even more angry. Due to her intense escape, she didn't even notice the casting of quasar, so she didn't have time to interrupt. And the devil doesn't even have a digestive system, and the stomach is connected to an abyss without a bottom, so there's no need to solve physiological problems. Is this nonsensical and nonsensical? Don't let me catch that young dragon, otherwise I will make you understand what 100 types of torture in the abyss are. Mage harbors a deep hatred in his heart, not only towards Quasar, but also towards eternal punishment of the dragon. But no matter what, she always has to solve the troubles in the rear now. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Creation of Spells. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The creation of spells. The stomach of a giant dragon digests food through a combination of muscle movements and magical power. The specific magical power possessed by different dragons varies. The 5-colored dragon and metal dragon are essentially elemental powers summoned by magic. The eternal punishment dragon is a force field shaped by magic, which is a pure magical energy. Anything that enters Yangpanlong's stomach is equivalent to being repeatedly crushed by a giant roller. Grinded into small and fragmented objects. So sometimes when Murphy eats, he uses a snake-like swallow because he really doesn't need to chew slowly. Swallowing the jujube whole can also produce good, even better results than chewing. Of course, Murphy often uses a careful tasting method to enjoy delicious food. If I take magical power as the starting point, I can create corresponding spells based on the theory of plasticity. The only downside of amplifying the effect of the force field on the stomach is my stomach is a biological tissue, and if I can't control my strength well, it's serious damage to my stomach. I should be the first dragon to die from a stomach perforation by then. That's why Murphy didn't consider amplifying the force field as the first direction for studying ablation techniques. He doesn't have a clear understanding of his own physiological structure yet. Not knowing one's own limits of endurance and changes in stomach movements. Unless he has another eternal punishment dragon as a reference or a priest for healing, he will not choose this direction. Strengthening the peristaltic effect of the stomach and stimulating blood circulation undoubtedly makes it much safer. There are also many spell theories related to this aspect. Especially in the Change series, spells such as Blood-Burning Fury, Wild Power, and Boiling Blood are all related to this aspect. Although Murphy doesn't have a spell model, he has a theory. And it is the theory of a level 9 mage, understanding these principles is like a child's play. Moreover, Murphy estimated that the difficulty of digestion surgery is at most one link. Such a simple spell that a level 9 mage cannot understand, why not become a mage? Epsilon psi epsilon tau alpha iota mu iota sigma theta nu tau lambda alpha nu tau omicron nu. This spell represents the boiling of blood. Gamma kappa nu omicron eta nu epsilon tau pi lambda omicron alpha. It represents the stomach. Lambda lambda mu omicron tau represents the scope of action. As for the posture, I always feel like I'm a dragon and it's very strange to manipulate it. But let's put it on display. What if the spell doesn't succeed? The mages use the key of meditation to activate the unrefined magical power, and the first thing they do is guide them through spells. Shape it into the shape that the mages want. A magical effect that can be understood and controlled by mages. Both posture and material are just auxiliary spells. Posture is used to correct errors in spells and areas where spells cannot be fully molded. And the material, in addition to compensating for the shortcomings of the spell, is more like a catalyst, guiding the changes in magical energy more quickly. After completing these steps, you can obtain a spell model. After releasing it, it becomes a spell. It sounds simple, isn't it? Just reciting a spell and posing. Who wouldn't know? In fact, there are pitfalls in every step. The most fundamental reason is that the spell model is not static. Even if you imitate a mage to cast spells, even if you learn to meditate, recite the spells proficiently, and have a standard posture, you cannot use fireball technique to light a match. Spell models vary from person to person, and different individuals need to shape them based on individual differences, including but not limited to mental state, height, weight, and even gender. At the same time, natural factors such as the movement of planets, seasonal changes, timing of the day, and the environment of the plane can also affect the shaping of spell models. Without rich knowledge and exceptional intelligence, one cannot become a mage. Some poorly skilled mages, once changed to a different plane, completely destroy themselves and cannot cast spells at all. Only by learning local casting methods can one restore their casting ability. Or as powerful as a legendary mage, they can personally modify their spell models and even adapt their casting methods to the local environment. Murphy is currently facing this dilemma. Although the spells, postures, and materials have all been constructed, she has never been able to shape an effective spell model. However, Murphy knew that these were all normal, and the creation of spells was not so easy. Some unreasonable aspects require experimental verification of errors and subsequent adjustments. These are all normal phenomena. As a research dog in his previous life, he was too familiar with these things. Repeating the same experiment dozens of times is normal. And sometimes it's small mistakes that lead to the failure of the entire experiment. Even these small errors are easily overlooked. It wasn't until a significant amount of time was spent on elimination that we were able to detect it. However, as long as she walks on the right path, Murphy believes she can succeed. 5 days later, Murphy stepped on an original demon with her feet, and her mouth began to recite words, making a strange and long sound. Mu sigma omicron delta iota alpha phi theta epsilon rho gamma mu omicron upsilon. A red light emitted from the front of Murphy's paw and slowly penetrated into the body of the original demon. Gudong. Gudong. The rapid sound of gastrointestinal peristalsis came from the stomach of the original demon. The pounding belly kept shaking Murphy's dragon claws. The twisted face of the original demon also appeared, with its claws and teeth constantly attacking Murphy, venting its own pain. Unfortunately, it still hasn't been successful. Murphy sighed lightly, and after saying these words, the original demon under his feet trembled more and more, even gently lifting Murphy's dragon claws. Until with a loud bang, a sky full of muscle and visceral fragments exploded from the stomach of the original demon. In an instant, the stomach of the original demon sank, its head tilted, and it completely died. Murphy put the dragon claw into her mouth and licked it, muttering to herself, "What went wrong this time? It was originally a good auxiliary spell. How did it become a destructive spell with such weak power? It's just a trick. Yes, don't think this spell can blow up the original demon. But in fact, Genmo is already a level 1 creature and was disabled by Murphy. Nature cannot bear the power of magic. In terms of power, sustaining death is a bit more powerful than the zero-ring magic, as it cannot reach the edge of a single ring spell. The complexity of the magic model is also at the level of another type of magic. It can be said to be a useless spell. Otherwise, Murphy would be very happy to come up with a good destructive spell. This proves that Murphy has other means besides physical attacks. But the spell model is really difficult to build. By slightly increasing the vibration of the stomach and intestines, this spell cannot be successful yet. Weakening a bit may not be successful. The overall structure of the obvious spell is problematic. Murphy could only overturn it again and construct a new structure. Perhaps this is a flaw in universal spells. If I limit the effect of this spell to myself, it might be different. After all, the goal of a spell also determines its effectiveness. Murphy pondered, but after careful consideration, she decided to dispel the idea. Conducting experiments on oneself is currently a suicidal behavior. And Murphy felt that she couldn't figure it out right now. Besides not having enough time, she still had too little knowledge. Unfortunately, skill points are not unlimited. The skills points can only be 3 points higher than its own health level. No matter how high it is, it cannot be increased. Skill limit equals total level plus 3, if Murphy's knowledge, Arcane, continues to rise, there is nothing that cannot be solved. However, Murphy glanced at the experience points on the attribute panel. 7655/12,000. Continuing at this pace, he won't have much time to upgrade again. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Level 1 Mage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Level 1 Mage, mu sigma omicron delta iota alpha phi theta epsilon rho gamma mu omicron upsilon. A red light emitted from Murphy's eyes and charged towards the monster 30 meters ahead. He is currently attacking a monster team composed of 3 demons, and each monster is holding a weapon in their hand. For Murphy, the threat level naturally increased by 1 level. Joe. The abnormal demon who was hit by the red light immediately threw down his weapon, crouched down with his stomach covered, and a painful expression appeared on his face. This was developed by Murphy 7 days ago, and it is not much different from the construction of the spell that blasted the original demon. Because Murphy suddenly realized that if this spell was not treated as a harmful spell, it seemed to be worthy of a control spell. So he further improved this spell and replaced it with a more convenient eye-casting method. And remember it in your mind, take the initiative in this battle. The other 2 abnormal demons will naturally not allow Murphy to wreak havoc. He saw an accident with his companion. But still roaring forward. This is not because they are foolish, nor because they are bloodthirsty like the original demons. But they believe they do have a possibility of defeating Murphy. Although this possibility is what they believe. The abnormal demons withstood the threat of dragon power, holding 3-edged wedge-shaped weapons that were obtained from somewhere and used for throwing. Using a rudimentary launch device to assist, throw it towards Murphy. Shoo! Shoo! 1 left and 1 right blocked Murphy's flight routes on both sides. There are only 2 paths to go up and down, and going up means giving up this attack, so Murphy chose to go down. The low flying posture affected Murphy's diving advantage, but he still charged towards the monster in an unstoppable position. Faced with Murphy diving in, the monster still did not give up resistance. Seems to want to fire a third 3-edged weapon. Unfortunately, time is very brief. All actions are simply too late. Click. Murphy successfully bit a monster. This is the advantage of first-hand spell attacks. Otherwise, the third monster can still attack and throw the third weapon when Murphy flies low. At such a close distance, Murphy would definitely not be able to dodge in time and there is a high probability of being injured. But now, everything has no ifs. Murphy bit one of the monsters and swung it left and right in the air. Her wings flapped again, attacking the other monster. Faced with the dragon wings falling like a huge canopy, another monster continued to resist. The battle has now aroused his ferocity, with only one word left and right. It's better to fight to the death. The monster held many crescent-shaped pliers at the top, forming a sharp spike weapon that surrounded it, and attacked the weak part of the wings of the Eternal Punishment Dragon, wanting to tear it apart. The scales on the dragon wings are relatively rare compared to the dragon body. The attack of the monster is highly likely to succeed. Although this attack will only cause damage to Murphy, he himself cannot avoid the outcome of death. But even if the demon dies, it will not make Murphy feel better. However, Murphy couldn't make this monster achieve its wish. Boom! The invisible oscillating force field emanated from Murphy's mouth and attacked the monster approaching his wings. This is Murphy's breath, a linear destructive force field converted from magical energy, dealing 2.16 force field damage to enemies. Bang! As if an invisible sledgehammer had hit the monster's body, his face and chest instantly sank, and he was directly knocked away by the powerful force field, causing his weapon to shake off. The attack of the natural monster on Murphy can no longer be organized. Murphy didn't care about the monster slipping from her mouth, but stomped on it, jumped up high, and charged towards the monster being knocked away by the force field. Click! 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 The tremendous force directly crushed and broke the bones and tendons of this monster, completely sinking its already sunken face and chest into its body. It also caused the death of this monster. Shwa! Murphy grabbed the monster directly with her claws, threw it into her mouth, and chewed heavily. And the abnormal demon who had been enchanted finally recovered, and in the previous battle, he was also fanned aside by Murphy's wings. But recovery does not necessarily mean good. He looked around and found that his companion was disabled and dead. He was left alone to face the black shadow diving down from mid-air. Bang! The last monster was intimidated by Long Wei, trembling in place and easily solved by Murphy. You devoured the soul of the monster and gained 500 experience points. Murphy glanced at the 12,555 points in the experience column and let out a satisfied belch. Just wait for the digestion to be completed, then kill one of the remaining 2 abnormal demons and devour it again to complete the upgrade. This made Murphy very satisfied, especially with his own battles. Besides relieving loneliness, isn't the biggest goal of studying spells diligently to improve one's own strength? It has been proven that spells greatly enhance one's combat power. Without that spell as a first mover, although Murphy could win this battle, he would inevitably be injured. This is not something Murphy is willing to do. He has always been cautious in hunting and can avoid getting hurt. He always remembers in his previous life's animal world that many top predators began to decline from injury. As long as there is no stable cultivation environment, Murphy will never allow herself to be injured. This attack on the 3-headed devil is also his first proactive attack after rigorously evaluating his combat power. The practical results show that my evaluation is correct. Since this spell is so useful, give him a name and call it Murphy's Bloating Technique. This is a one-ring spell, and after successfully remembering it in his mind, Murphy naturally became a level 1 mage. The relevant information also appears on the attribute panel, which means Murphy can rely on experience points to upgrade. Murphy glanced at the upgrade experience and found that the guy had 13,000 experience points. It is the same as Murphy's experience value to upgrade the dragon level. That's right, Murphy's upgrade experience has increased by 1,000 points now, just after he officially became a level 1 mage. Along with the experience penalty, it also increases by 1 level. Indeed, it inherits the upgrade style of previous games, and regardless of the level of the profession, it still follows that the experience points for upgrading are determined based on the total level. Does Murphy regret it? That's not necessarily the case. he only knows that even if he only masters a self-created spell, the improvement in combat power is far higher than that of raising the level of the dragon. However, Murphy will also decide whether to level up the mage based on her own situation in the future. After all, not every level of improvement is the most cost-effective. Temporarily mastering 2 first-ring spell positions is sufficient. And of course, magic will continue to be studied until it reaches the stage of young dragons, and then consider upgrading the mage's level. The most important thing is that Murphy has an idea that since the mage level consumes so much experience, it's better to rely solely on oneself to improve in the early stages. Use all experience points to increase the health level of the dragon. In the mid-term, with self-protection ability, the dragon level will rely on lifespan to endure. By reaching the stage of Tai Gu Long, increase the mage's level with all experience points. Because Murphy is still very confident in the mage level before the legend, but it becomes difficult after the legend. Many legendary mages can only stay at the basic stage of legend for their entire lives, unable to even touch the threshold of level 25. In Murphy's view, experience points are likely to be his biggest helper on the path of a legendary mage. Master, spare your life. At this moment, a weak voice rang out in Murphy's heart. He fixed his eyes on the monster under his feet and said, "What do you call me?" Murphy's bloating surgery changed system level. Mage 1 spell components. Speech, posture cast time. 1 standard action distance. Medium range, 100 feet plus 10 feet per equivalent per cast, effect. Ray duration. Immediately exemption test. Physical fitness spell resistance. Possible shoot a ray from your eyes, and if the remote contact attack check is successful, you can hit the target, causing stomach pain for 1d2 rounds and dealing 1d2 physical damage. If the enemy does not have a stomach, this spell is ineffective. Explanation. This is a byproduct of Murphy's research on digestion, sacrificing spell duration and damage in exchange for medium-range casting distance. End of this chapter.